Hi, Scorpio. I'm Jody with Soul Purpose Tarot, and I am going to do your October reading. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out 4 or 5 tarot cards just to kind of get an energy and decide if we're looking at love or if we're looking at career or health issues or whatever the case may be. So, okay, Scorpio. And there's... Do I want him? Do I want him? Do I want him? 3 cards. Yep. All right. We'll take him. And I shuffled these up really good beforehand. So let's see. I need 2 more cards for Scorpio for October. The Libra season, which I am a Libra sun, Capricorn rising, Sagittarius moon. I've done the Capricorn reading. Wow, this is interesting. I'm going to take that one. I have not done Libra and I have not done Sagittarius. For some reason, I am stalling on doing my own. Well, you know what? I guess I know why. Because last week was kind of a bad week, bad energy for a little while. And I needed to get out of that energy before I did anybody's reading, actually. But last night was really good. And the energies are coming back in my favor anyway. I had book club and all right. There we go. So anyhow, first thing we have is the Hanged Man. So that doesn't tell me anything until I get to the end. This looks like it's a love relationship discussion. Cups, swords, yeah, I'm thinking so. You're in a stuck position. You're not moving forward. There's no communication. And something's going on with the person in your life that you are romantically linked with. So I don't know if you guys got in a fight or what the deal is, but something is not moving forward. And it feels like both of you are being super stubborn. And neither one of you wants to admit that that you are wrong because you think the other one is wrong. That is the feeling that I'm getting. In this case, I feel like you are the Queen of Swords, and because I've got the Queen of Swords, the Queen of Cups, and the Emperor. So normally these are people that are standing strong in control of your thoughts. So you think you're right, your thoughts are right, and that's why you're being so stubborn, is because you feel like you were the one that was done wrong. Same thing with the Queen of Cups. You feel like you're right, you're in the right position, you feel good about however things happened, although maybe stuck, you feel like you are the one that was in the right and he was in the wrong. And then if we go to the Emperor card, he's sitting where he thinks he's the one that is right. So that makes total sense of all of you being stubborn. All of you think you're in the correct position of this whole thing. And then you've got the Lover's card upside down, which is not in a good place. So somebody is going to have to bite the bullet and say they're sorry. And you know, I find when me and my guy get into it, I've thought this several times in my life. I used to never be someone that said I was sorry, because most of the time I never was sorry. I said what I thought, I meant what I said, and I never retracted much of anything until I met my guy. And he would trigger me, and then I would pop off something somewhat nasty, and then I would have to say I was sorry. And I have done this a handful of times, and I can remember thinking several times, man, I sure do say I'm sorry a lot. But I am sorry because he pushed a button and I reacted negatively, more so than him. And so if you got triggered during this and you said something, you might think twice that maybe you are not in the right. Maybe the other person, maybe you both need to apologize, but somebody's going to have to start the apology. So maybe this is a case of where you need to be the bigger person and think about what you got triggered, what made you get triggered, what made you say what you said, and apologize and admit to what that comment brought up in you. Because the only way you're going to make that stuff go away is if you recognize when something gets brought up. You know, I can remember having a conversation and something my guy said to me made me feel like I was just somebody else, that I could have been anybody and that I was nobody special. And so something that he had said to me really, really affected me, and I said some not very nice things. And I realized a couple of days later that what happened was he brought up my feelings of my own self-worth, or lack thereof, and that he made me feel like I was nobody special because I already felt that way. So think really, really hard about the conversation and dig deep within yourself about what it was that that person said that made you react negatively. And what they made you feel about yourself inside. Because if you can dig that out, then you're going to realize, oh, you're right. That person made me feel like I did when I was in 5th grade and I didn't get picked for the basketball team. Or he made me feel like my parents always did and overlooked everything and I never could get any approval, or whatever the case is. You know, my abandonment issues came out a couple of weeks ago when me and my guy got into it by something that he said to me, and I immediately was like, oh my God, he's going to leave me. And I wrote out in the middle of the night, because I was up late after the fight, I wrote out all of the things that I was afraid of. I'm afraid you're going to leave me because I'm older than you. I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid of this. And once I put that on paper, I realized, man, I have a lot of fears around this whole thing. And I apologized to him the next morning, and I said I was sorry. And I said, I realized through this whole thing, I have a lot of abandonment issues that I need to address within myself. And it seemed like it smoothed things over a little bit, I guess, because I recognized where my weakness was. So if you guys got into it, I'm going to say one more time, if you guys got into it and you said words just like the other person, both of you have stuff that's coming up to be healed. Figure out what it is so it doesn't keep coming up. I don't know if you have big blow-ups. I mean, I don't like to fight, but it seems like I get very easily triggered and my mouth goes off with my guy. And I never used to be that way, because I used to just hold it in and bury it, and I wouldn't say anything. And for whatever reason, I don't keep anything in with him, which I guess is good, because we get it out in the open and then everything is fine later, I hope. Let's see. These are the Power of Love cards. I'm going to see what this would be. Some clarification on, you know what? No, I'm not using those. I'm going to do mixed emotions. Maybe this will tell me. I want to get an idea of what the fight was about. See if we can figure out what got triggered, what needs to be healed. Bored. Okay. Well, I know what comes to me the first thing. That's funny. I worry my guy is going to think that I am boring. And he's going to leave me, that I'm not exciting enough, and that sitting on the couch and watching YouTube videos all the time, he's going to be like, oh my God, this is boring. She is boring. And I don't want to be with this person. The next card that came up was guilty. So you must have felt guilty about something. He accused you of something. You felt guilty about it and popped off something in response to it. And I say he, it could have been a she. There's that one. Someone needs to be respectful and realize, okay, I want to take that one. One more. Let's get one more of the emotions that maybe caused this fight. that everybody is in the Mexican standoff is what it feels like. Yeah, that came up upside down. I'm leaving that upside down. Okay. So we already talked about bored. So I feel like in this particular relationship, maybe things were getting stagnant and getting bored. Somebody was starting to worry it wasn't moving forward fast enough. And the person that started things maybe said something, accused the other person of something, because you needed a little action going on. I can kind of understand that, because when things are really copacetic and things are just kind of very even keeled, there is a tendency for people to think, when's the next shoe gonna drop? Things are going okay, and and so sometimes people will pick a fight just to kind of get some movement going on and some energy in the air. It's not necessarily the best way to do it. There's better ideas to get out of a boring situation or a stagnant situation. And it could have been that, again, the relationship wasn't moving forward. So you started getting anxious, and it wasn't moving forward fast enough for you. So you were like, I've got to get this thing moving. And the only way you could think about getting it moving was, nitpick at this other person about something. They probably said something and you were completely guilty of it and you reacted negatively, although it was true. How does this respectful, differential, courteous, and admiring? For some reason, it feels like, what am I getting from this? The other person respects your differences. The other person respects your ability to speak, but they have not told you that. You don't know that. And that's why it's like, I feel like it's like they're keeping that stuff inside themselves. And if they would just tell you how they were feeling about you, that they respect you for being a single mom, or they respect you for everything that you have ever done, that you wouldn't have gotten so anxious that this wasn't going any place. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting there. And the next one was surprised, and that you would be completely surprised if they did actually tell you what they were feeling about you, because they've never indicated maybe they really do have more feelings for you than they're letting on. But you would be completely surprised if they actually spilled their guts and said, this is how I feel about you. And a fight would not have occurred, because you would have been like, oh, they really do like me, instead of me just sitting here wondering if this is going anyplace. The peaceful card came in upside down, which makes me think that you're not, there isn't anything peaceful about this right now. You're stressing out. The other person's stressing out. You both think you're right. And you're just, like I said, you're sitting there at a deadlock and a Mexican standoff or whatever. So I guess my thought is, or the feeling is, get over yourself. Do not assume that you were completely in the right and the other person was completely in the wrong, because it very rarely happens that way. So if you know what's good for you, you will apologize, and you will figure out why you're apologizing. You don't apologize just to get things moving forward again. You need to know why you're apologizing and why you reacted the way you did and why you are sorry. I think a lot of people say they are sorry just because they want to smooth things over, and they're like, well, if I say I'm sorry, then they'll be okay. Know what you're sorry about. And even if you're not sorry, I'm trying to think. If you don't know what you're sorry about, figure it out. Because unless you know what prompted the whole thing, it's going to keep coming up for healing over and over again. So, figure it out. What made you react that way? Let's see. I'm going to use some romance angels and see what the outcome is as far as, are you guys going to make up? Are you going to take some time apart? Well, getting to know each other. As you reveal your innermost selves to each other, your bond deepens. I feel like that goes along with when you do get in a fight, that is an opportunity to take things to the next level because it kind of comes up, the infection comes out, you can discuss, that made me feel like I did when I was in 5th grade, or that made me feel like when that happened, or this happened. And you know, hopefully the other person will go, yeah, man, I had the same situation. I remember this one time, blah, 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 blah. And that does deepen your bond. Share the vulnerable parts of you. And only when you can be vulnerable with the other person and share with them the stuff that actually hurts is a bond gonna deepen. I have a really good friend who she is really bad about she shares stuff with me because we're really, really good friends. I know she doesn't share the deep, dark secrets about herself to the guys she's dating. And so she keeps going from person to person to person. And that's because they never get to know the real her. She never lets the other person know who she really is. She tries to pretend like, you know, everything's all perfect and stuff. And this is funny. Last night we had book club last night, and I must have said something that made it look like I had all my shit together, because this one girl made a comment about she hoped that everybody in the group was there to learn and become better and blah 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 blah. And the way she said it was like, I must have said something, and I was like, did I say something to make you think that I thought that I had all my shit together? And she was like, well, yeah, kinda. And so I revealed something to her, well, to the whole group, that was not a pretty thing. And I was kind of like, does that make you feel better that I don't have everything all together? So anyway, be vulnerable. Let people know that you don't have everything together, that you do have pain, because everybody else has pain and they want to know that you're like them. They don't want to know that you are sitting above them, judging them for whatever mistakes they have made in the past. I guess that maybe that's where a lot of this is coming in. I'm surprised the judgment card didn't come in, but don't be sitting from your throne, which 3 of these cards, the Queen of Cups, the Queen of Swords, and the Emperor, are all sitting on their thrones like, I'm so perfect, and sitting there judging everybody else for their mistakes, and don't think that you don't have your own crap you need to deal with. So, how am I doing on time? I'm really yakking about a lot of stuff, and I don't know if I'm saying anything. All right. Some more romance cards. Let's see where this romance is going. This could be the one. You've already met the romantic partner you seek. So maybe this person that you're seeing is actually the person that you are meant to stay with. I do believe that significant others come into your life in order to help you heal and grow. If you don't have anybody in your life that pushes you to be a better person, then you're stuck and stagnant. And, that's what close relationships are meant to do, is to bring stuff up, to be healed. At least that's what I've heard and what I believe. So I don't know what your theory is on that. And if you have a different one, please do tell me. Comment, tell me I'm crazy, that I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't care. Let's get... Okay, there's 2 more. Love yourself first. So I think that is very key in order to be open with other people. You have to accept your imperfections. Brene Brown, which is the name of the book club that I have, Brene Brown Book Club, she has a book, and the gift of imperfection. And the whole book is about expressing that shame and sharing your shame and your vulnerability with other people. And only until you're able to do that can you get into wholehearted relationships. Because when you hold that stuff in and don't share that with yourself, one, you're judging yourself for not being perfect, and you're afraid other people are going to judge you for being imperfect. And only when you can start being vulnerable and sharing that kind of stuff will your relationships deepen and get real, because everybody has baggage. Everybody has stuff they're ashamed of, and you're not going to get away from it. I mean, you have to be open. If you want to take those relationships to the next level, you have got to be able to share the dirty parts of yourself with other people and allow them to love you for yourself. Because if you're just have a mask on the whole time and all they're seeing is the outside part and not the inside part, that's not any kind of a relationship that's going to be sustainable. So, and this one says, keep an open mind. Your soulmate may differ from your usual type and expectation. Mine is 14 years younger than me and a different race. So I'm glad I kept an open mind when I met him. Otherwise, I would not be seeing him. So anyhow, I think that is it. I think you get the gist of this. You are probably not in the right, and you need to figure out what caused the fight and apologize. So hopefully this makes sense, Scorpios. I would love it if you would like, subscribe, comment, leave a tip or whatever, anything that you want to do. I'm happy to hear from you, and I hope everybody has a great October, and I will see you mid-month. Thanks.